Okay, so I saw Ghost in the Shell and Power Rangers tonight. I wanted to do a review of them, and I apologize now if the lighting is kind of bad. I really didn't feel like setting up the big light. I just wanted to turn on the camera and shoot this. So let's go. I saw Ghost in the Shell first, and before I get too much into that review, I have to address something, and this is something that I don't really want to talk about, but I want to bring it up. The quote unquote, and I put that quote unquote, the idea of whitewashing Hollywood. Now, I understand the arguments for this. I really do. But I don't think it matters in this case. And I say that for two reasons. Number one, I actually have seen the original. I didn't watch all the show, but I saw some of it, and I have seen the original movie. I'm sorry, in my opinion, the Major is not an Asian character. Doesn't look Asian. Looks like a generic anime character. Even the creator of the story has said that the Major was never supposed to be explicitly Asian. Never really said what she was. Now, number two reason. They explain why she looks the way she is. Actually, in the movie, she is an Asian character. Her mind is. Her shell is not, because her shell is literally just a body that they created for her. But her ghost, quote unquote, and I'll explain what I mean by that in a sec, her ghost is Asian. They even show a picture of the real person that got taken, whose brain it was. Asian, a little Asian girl, younger Asian girl. Okay? So, can we just calm it down a little bit with that? Maybe save it for the arguments that actually make sense, that are actually explicit. And you can we drop Death Note in that one too? Because there have been live action Death Notes with an all Asian cast, and they are fantastic. The Netflix series, yes, it would have been great to have Asian cast, but it's an American made Death Note series. They're going to cast American actors. Anyway, I'm sorry. Let's get past that rant. Ghost in the Shell. They did a lot of things right, I think. I mean, all the casting was very good. Scarlett Johansson was a very good choice for Major because of the way that she was being portrayed in it. Scarlett Johansson is very, very good at playing, I don't know, kind of blank. And I mean that in the sense that her character was somebody who had no real attachments, was questioning who she was questioning what she is, and was just kind of confused by a lot of things that were happening around her. Scarlett Johansson does that very, very well. The rest of the cast was very good. They were having to take a very, very complex story and try to make a 2-hour movie out of it. So they didn't get super, super deep into the actual story of who Major is, this whole idea. They kept it simple. They focused on Major's character mainly, but they got the sense of, they really nailed the sense of her confusion and her wanting to find out what was wrong with her. And they did it gradually, even though it was, the entire movie took place in kind of a short span of time, probably maybe a week, maybe two. But I mean, even in the very beginning, she was like, I'm having some problems, I'm having glitches, and they escalated it up slowly, and it worked very, very well, I thought. They focused on just the right amount of aspects of a complex story to make you get and understand what was going on, and Scarlett Johansson played it off very well. And they made up for everything else in visuals. The movie is visually stunning. I mean, it's beautiful. Everything is huge. Everything is kind of over the top. There were some parts that were pulled right out of the anime. And I mean that just more, not even in the sense of the scenes, I mean the way it looked. You know, like the very beginning, they actually show the Major being quote unquote born, where they were taking the brain and putting it in, taking the ghost and putting it into the shell that they created. And the sense of them creating that shell, it was beautifully done. It was something straight out of the anime. It was fantastic. And I'm sorry, I have to look something up just really, really quick because I forgot the actor's name. I do apologize. I should know this because Takeshi Kitano. That's right. I thought that's who it was. Takeshi Kitano is in it. He plays the leader of Section 9, and he is a badass as always. This guy is one of the greatest things that Japan has ever given us. And he's just so awesome in it. This futuristic world, and the weapon that he chooses to use is an old Western 6-shooter in this like hand-tooled leather holster. Oh, so good. Anyway, the movie is very good. I thought they did a very good job with what they were given, with the material that they were given and the scope of the material given. They did probably the best that they could do with it. Highly recommend it. Beautiful movie, good story, and more importantly, it gives just enough of a story to get that people are going to see it and they're going to be interested in if there's more to the story. And that will possibly turn them on to the anime. And really, that's probably what they're going for here. That's why they agreed to make this movie. You know, the anime is over, but there's a lot of it. There's 25 years worth of this anime possibly. You know, I don't remember exactly how long it was on. I know it was on for a while. This is going to turn them on to that. And that's really what's important. Next up, Power Rangers. Now, this is a movie that I've been excited for at least a year, and it did not disappoint. It did not disappoint at all. It was a very satisfying movie. They took a story that is cheesy and very, very 90s, so 90s, and they were able to bring it to the modern day and make that sort of transition very well. They made it to where it was still a little bit cheesy. There were some cringe moments in it, but not bad. And all in all, they took it and they elevated it to a level that I did not think they were going to be able to elevate it to. They made us actually care about the characters. They gave us a little bit of a history of both Zordon and Rita. They confirmed something that is something that I have questioned since the original show, and I won't say what that is because I don't want to spoil anything. They changed the characters around a little bit, but they also gave them a little bit more backstory. You actually got to see home life of these characters, which I thought was important, because this was basically an origin story. You know, this was the beginning of something they could do more of, and I hope that they do. I really hope that they do more with it. All in all, very well done. All the acting was good. Not great, but you got to remember they're teenagers and they're playing teenagers. More importantly, They're not just, they're playing teenagers, so it's gonna be, some of it is gonna be cringy, but they played very realistic teenagers, I thought. Um, I mean, if you came across something that gave you quote unquote superpowers, you'd be excited too. Who wouldn't? You know? Bryan Cranston's in this, playing Zordon. He did fine. I didn't think they needed a name like that, though. It's not that I felt that he was wasted on this movie, but I don't think they needed somebody of his caliber to play the role. Just because Zordon did not have as big of a role in this movie. Now maybe if they do a sequel, then maybe he'll be more. Maybe his character will be a little bit more fleshed out, and that'll be great. And if that's the case, then he's going to nail it. Bryan Cranston will nail it and just do fantastic. Now, the big saving grace of the movie, besides the fact that everything just looked so good, everything looked updated but still classic. The suits, the Zords, everything. It looked really great. I'm not sure I felt about the power coins actually giving them quote-unquote superpowers, but I took it, I accepted it, it was okay. It actually almost made sense to be able to give them that. It's the only way they were going to be able to survive these kind of fights. But the real saving grace of this movie was Elizabeth Banks as Rita Repulsa. She played it so well. She played this character. She played it almost as a character out of time, and she just did it so well. She was beautiful. She was sexy. She was menacing, and she was kind of gross, especially in the beginning before she started getting herself put together. She was just, this character that was just dripping ooze and nasty and stuff, and her only mission was to find gold, and it was perfect because she's trying to raise Goldar, who they for some reason made into like 100-foot giant monster, which I just, whatever with that. That's fine. They got all the other characters pretty well. They could change that one. But if you were a fan of Power Rangers, I highly recommend seeing it. It's incredibly satisfying. They did so much right. And all the things they quote-unquote got wrong, which I don't consider anything they did wrong, they just changed it some, is okay. I mean, I went with a buddy who had seen Power Rangers but hadn't seen a lot of it. Was just more something he remembered because he's younger. Power Rangers was on when he was like 5. So, and even he really enjoyed it. He's like, that was awesome. It was a lot of fun. It was big. It was spectacular. Great action sets, really good sequences, some great stuff. So just really highly recommend it. But that's it for that. I just want to kind of talk through those. Go see both those. They're really good. And probably next time you'll see me talking about a movie is here in a couple of weeks after we see Fate of the Furious. So thanks for watching. See you later.